So I suppose this is where everything changes. You want to know the inside story, so I'm going to give it to you. My name is Dave Tinker, and most everybody knows me by my last name, Tinker. I know lots of dudes in the action sports industry. I hang out with lots of kids, and I've got friends all over the world, and it's super cool. What I want to do today is talk to you about Wisdom Skateboards, how it was born, where it came from, why we exist. Because a lot of times people want to know your story. Maybe you connect with our story, maybe you don't. But it's good to get the word out. I'd love for you guys to know who we are and why we exist. It's important. It's an important story, just like your story is important. Everybody has a story. So today I'm going to introduce you to mine. So the Wisdom Skateboard story starts almost 10 years ago. We were in Northern California, and in 2007 we relocated to Central Florida. And my son at the time was really into skateboarding. He really loved it, and so I decided that we were going to go to the Dew Games. And the final stop of the Dew Games used to be right here in Orlando. And we went to the Dew Games, and we had a good time. But when I got home that night, I was super burdened, and there was a problem. The Dew Games were fun, and the athletes were off the charts, and the finals were incredible. But the problem was the environment. There were lots of kids there, much like my kid, who was pretty young at the time. And the music that they were playing and the language that they were using and some of the activities and things that were going on there were pretty discouraging. Now, for the most part, if you've been around action sports culture for very long, you probably wouldn't think about it much. You probably wouldn't think anything about the music or the language or whatever. It's just an inherent part of that culture. But the problem that I had as a father, and also as a follower of Jesus, I'm a Christian, was that if we're gonna raise the generations to have respect, if we're going to raise the generations to have a relationship with God, and to honor each other and to honor God, it affects the way that we live, and it affects the things that we do. And so for me, when I got home burdened that night, it wasn't because I was bummed about the stuff that I had seen from an actual skill-based level. It was really more about what I had experienced on an emotional and a spiritual level. The problem is that in our culture, it's not very common that we see things outside of a Christian environment where we see a lot of things and people that honor God and things that they do. There's a lot of self-service. There's a lot of doing it my way, doing it the way, whatever feels good, as long as I'm not hurting anybody or whatever, that's okay. But again, when I got home, I was super burdened, and I went to bed that night, and I didn't really know how to process that. I didn't really know what to do with it. When I woke up the next morning, God spoke very clearly to me that morning. And He said, I want you to immerse yourself in that culture. And I said, okay, I don't really know what that means, but I'll try to follow you through that, God. And he told me that if I would honor him, that if I would follow him, that he would give me direction. He would show me what to do and how to do it. Now, I've been a musician most of my life. I've played in bands, and I've traveled and done some really cool stuff in the music industry. I've also been a surfer most of my life. Spent a lot of time in the water, and I absolutely love surfing. It's kind of like a sanctuary to me. It's a cool thing. Action sports and music really go hand in hand, and I love that kind of stuff. I love the action sports experience, the adrenaline and the excitement of all of it. And so when I answered this call that God woke me up to in October of 2007, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I had no idea what he was going to be asking me to do, and I just went along with it. Now, I'm a businessman. I've done all kinds of really cool business work and worked with a lot of really cool people in my life, and I've been pretty successful in business, specifically with IT and computer stuff and management of processes. And what's cool about what God does is he takes the resources and the strengths that you have, and he applies those to things that sometimes are outside your comfort zone. Sometimes they're outside the realm of the things that you know and the things that are common. And for me, with this particular calling, he called me to action sports, but he called me into skateboarding, of all things. Now, I've never really been a skateboarder. I had a skateboard when I was a kid, and we rode ramps and stuff like that every now and then. But I would much rather be in the water. And what would have been awesome to me is if God says, hey, Dave, I need you to do this. And by the way, we're going to use surfing as an entry point into action sports. And I could have been like, cool, God, I got this. I can do that. Not a problem. But that's not what he did. He said, I'm going to call you into skateboarding. And I'm like, well, I don't know anything about skateboarding. I don't know anything about skateboards or skateboarding tricks or any of that stuff. It's totally foreign to me. And again, he just said, follow me. So I said, okay, I'll follow you. And because of that, Wisdom Skateboards was born in October of 2007. Now, coming up in just a couple of months, we're going to be celebrating 10 years of business and ministry. And it's kind of mind-blowing to me, actually, that we've been doing it this long. Now, Wisdom is not it's not a brand that's mainstream, and I'm okay with that. I wasn't called to start a business. What I was called to do was to reach the world of action sports through skateboarding. That's what God asked me to do. So Wisdom Skateboards is essentially, it's a tool. It's a tool that we use to connect people in action sports to the gospel. And the gospel is really simple. The gospel is Jesus came to earth as a man. He gave himself up as a sacrifice for us because we couldn't pay for our sin. There was no way that we could make it on our own. And God knew that from the beginning. And so Jesus came and he did it for us. And he said it's finished. And when he said it's finished, he meant he is giving us a gift that we can't get in any other way. That gift is salvation through him. We can have a relationship with God through Jesus. Which, by the way, consequently, he is the only path to God. And there's lots of culture and religion and stuff out there that will tell you otherwise, but the Bible tells us that Jesus is the only way. He's the only way to God. He's the only way to salvation. He's the only way to real peace. So Wisdom uses skateboarding simply as a tool to be able to share that message of hope, love, and encouragement in in a pretty dark culture. I mean, if you spend any time around skateboarding whatsoever, you know that it's pretty gnarly. There's a lot of hesh dudes out there. There's a lot of gnarly stuff that goes on at your local skate parks, which, by the way, I'm actually on my way to a skate park tonight, which happens to be one of the not gnarly skate parks here in the United States. Maybe you heard of it. It's SFC Jericho. I serve at SFC Jericho. I met Bob Langford, which is the founder of Skateboarders for Christ and SFC Jericho Skate Park. We met about 9 years ago and started doing ministry together. We collaborated and worked together to do some cool stuff. And so you'll get to see a little bit of that place tonight. Perhaps you've seen it in some of our friends' videos. We've had some great athletes come through there, good friends of mine, like Raymond Warner, Adam LZ, Gus Reimer, Jared Adelson, all kinds of really cool dudes that come through, and I'm pleased to call those guys friends today. So in just a little bit, I'm gonna give you a tour of SFC Jericho Skate Park, but we're gonna go behind the scenes. You know, you can come to the park and you can go out and you can ride and you can see the shop and all those kinds of things, but you can't always see what goes on behind the scenes. I'll let you meet some of the cool kids that are there and see what's going on. So essentially, I want to invite you to follow me along with my journeys with Wisdom Skateboards. My only regret with this is that I wish I would have done it sooner, because we've seen and experienced and done some really cool stuff over these last 10 years, things that maybe we didn't do such a great job documenting. And I apologize for that, because I wish you could have seen it. But we've been to cool places as a team. We've been on tours and we've met all kinds of people. So thank you for tuning into this. Thank you for giving me your time. Thank you for listening to what I have to say and to joining me on this. All right, so we made it to Jericho. Looks like the place is pretty quiet tonight. The street's pretty active out here. We're in Daytona Beach. So Jericho Skate Park is in Daytona Beach, Florida, and you've probably seen it on lots of different people's videos before. What's up, guys? Say what's up. They have no idea what I'm doing. This is brand new. Hey, Sandy. So what we're going to do is we're going to come to the park. We're going to get acclimated to see what's going on, and we'll get you hooked up. All right, so we're all checked in here at Jericho. I'm here with Damien. Damien is one of our best scooter riders here at the skate park. Matter of fact, he's been hanging out with Raymond Warner. Raymond's taught him a few things, and you just got back from Woodward, right? Week one at Woodward. So if you want to hang out with a cool kid here at Jericho that knows his scoot, this is the guy. All right, so I promised you guys some behind the scenes here at Jericho, and in all honesty, there's not a whole lot going on behind the scenes. You're here in our office. Here you see how nice and messy this is. But this is where a lot of the work gets done. You know, we do a lot of work here on the computer, and we got stuff, special order stuff, like, check it out, my boy Raymond Warner. We got his deck right here on hold for somebody, about to get hooked up with a custom complete. And then we also got some cool stuff back here that you don't get to see either, like, check this out. This is another person you need to meet here at Jericho too. This is Miss Sandy. Sandy,
nice to meet you.
Sandy is my buddy, and Sandy keeps us straight.
I try to keep them straight. That don't mean I always do.
We follow orders pretty good. All right, this is the nastiest thing that we do here at SFC Jericho, even worse than cleaning the bathrooms, returning these skanky rental helmets. Ugh. Bloomer, is that your helmet?
Yes.
Now, this is a special treat for you guys. This is Dell. Dell, tell them about yourself.
I've been riding at Jericho for
Scooters, right?
Yeah. I started off, I didn't even have a scooter, and then like I got one for Christmas, so we got it. That was real nice. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, man. Dell's a super cool guy. If you come to Jericho, he's definitely the guy you want to meet. My closing responsibilities here at the skate park are almost over. I got the place clean, all the trash is out. Thanks to Damien for helping me sweep. All the kids that came through and picked up trash, man, I really appreciate that. You know, for all the fun that we have here at Jericho, there's about 20 times more work to create that fun. Jesus talks about how the workers are few, and if there are ministers out there, if there are people out there that are watching this video, if you're watching this video and you serve somehow in ministry, you serve at your church, or maybe you're a youth leader or whatever, my hat's off to you, because I'm with you. It's a lot of work, but I also want to leave you with a word of encouragement. Just remember that it's worth it. If you weren't doing what you were doing, who else would be doing it? Maybe there isn't anybody else to do it. Maybe you're the answer. And so, as often as we want to quit, as often as I'd rather go for a surf than I would come in here and clean toilets and take out trash and serve snow cones and whatever. The Monday night Bible studies that we do here, and the relationships that we build, and the opportunities that we have to share the gospel with these kids is worth it. It's worth all of it. And I want to encourage you in whatever you're doing. It may not seem very glamorous. What I do here it's not very glamorous, but it's worth it. Now, our roles and our responsibilities and everything change over time, but we're always called to serve. No matter how young or how old you are, there's no such thing as retirement from the gospel. You're always going to be on task. You're always going to have a new mission, no matter what that is. And so, man, if you serve, thank you for serving. If you want to get involved in a skate park or learn what skate ministry looks like, we would invite you to come here to Daytona Beach and plug in with us, man. That would be awesome. That'd be super cool. We'd love to have you. We've got a great staff of volunteers here. This place is run completely by volunteers. It has been for 4 years now. We just completed 4 years of running a skate park with all volunteers, and it's pretty cool. God's really blessed this place, man, and it's been an incredible blessing to be a part of it. Things are going to be changing for me a little bit. Part of the reason why I'm starting this vlog is really just to kind of help people to see what goes on behind the scenes and see what it takes to actually pull stuff off. And most of the stuff I'm going to post is fun. There's a lot of work that goes into this. Am I gonna daily vlog? Probably not. But what I am going to do is try to share some cool things with you, things that I think will help, and things that are positive and encouragement. As often as I have the opportunity to do that with you, that's what I'll be doing. Guys like Raymond Warner and Adam LZ, you guys that post every day, man, I don't know how you do it. I've spent quite a bit of time with Raymond, and brother, I don't know how you pull it off, but I love you. I think you're awesome. You're a super rad dude. Adam, man, I appreciate all the encouragement that you've given me and the opportunity to marry you and Nicole. What a blessing that is. And had I not started this journey 10 years ago when the Lord asked me to do this, I wouldn't have done any of this. It was never my idea. None of this is my idea. None of this is my intention. I have no idea what I would be doing with my life if I wasn't here, if I wasn't making skateboards. So thank you for spending some time with me today. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I hope that there's something in my story that inspires you, that encourages you to step out, maybe take a step of faith and follow whatever God may have on your heart. Is it scary? Yeah, it's scary. Is it going to cost you? Yep, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you time. It's going to cost you financially. It's going to cost you relationships. But if you're doing what you're told, if you're fulfilling your purpose, and if you're fulfilling your mission, it's worth it. So I'm going to sign off. Tomorrow I'm taking a group of kids here in Daytona Beach. We have a local discipleship group. At Wisdom Skateboards, we've got something called the Street Team. And the street team is global. If anywhere you are in the world, if you want to join our street team, you can plug in, you can get connected to a private chat with all of our missionary riders and other riders all around the world. It's super rad. We have so much fun, and we cut up in the chat, and we also pray for each other, and we support each other, and we lift each other up. It's pretty cool. If you want to check that out, I'll post up a link here for you to look, for you to click on, and then also in the links down below, you'll see some stuff down there about how to get connected. We actually just had 2 dudes join from one from Israel and one from New Zealand, so that's super rad. Shout out to you guys for joining us up. But tomorrow I'm going to take our local street team, our discipleship group, to Fort Lauderdale, and we're going to go to Ramp 48 and hang out for a little bit and skate, and we got some Bible study that we're going to do, and we're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be cool. I don't know if I'm going to be able to post that the next day. We'll see. We'll see what happens with time. But again, as often as I have an opportunity to post and connect with you guys here, I want to do it. Thanks so much for spending your time with me. I really appreciate it. Take care.